Percentage is a ratio that compares a number to 100. Hello and welcome to the Kearney Math Show. Thank you all for tuning in today. On today's episode of the Kearney Math Show, we are going to be featuring mini lesson 3, talking about discounts, markups, tax, tip, and commission. So before we get started, this is entry number 3. Take just a moment to write that on the top of your mini lesson. So let's just make sure we know our learning goal. Our learning goal is that by the end of class today, you should be able to take any kind of percent word problem and explain to someone else how you would solve it if it's involving money. So we're going to talk about a lot of real world application today. Okay, so let's refresh our memory of what we've talked about with percentages so far. So we said the word percent means per, that root word cent means 100, so out of 100. So in order to set up all percent problems, what do we say? We always put percent over 100. So we set up all percent problems percent over 100. And if you have 100% of something, you have a whole. And if you only have a percentage of it, you have part of the whole. So all percent problems, we're setting up percent over 100 equals part over whole. Okay, and we're going to continue to use that proportion today as we solve percent problems involving money. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of run through these pretty quickly because I feel like probably most of these you guys have heard of and you already have kind of some experience. So the first one is if you have a discount. If you're getting a discount on something, that means you're saving some money. So that is money saved when something is on sale, okay? So like when you go to the store and you see 30% off, that means it's 30% off the original. You're saving that 30%, okay? Now, after you get the discount, you may want to know, well, what am I actually going to pay for the item after the discount? And that's the sale price. Sale price is the cost of the item after the discount has been taken off. So after you find that discount and you take that away from the total, that would give you your sale price. Now those sound very similar. So a lot of people get those kind of mixed up. So you're thinking discount is the amount of money off and the sale price is after that money has been taken off. Okay. Now sometimes you're not so lucky. Sometimes things are actually marked up. So when Ms. Kearney used to work at a jewelry store, we used to get items in and the price seemed very, very reasonable, very cheap. And then all of a sudden, before we put it out on the shelves and we sold it to people, our company took it and they marked up the price because that was going to allow us to make a profit. So markup is the money added to a price. Okay, so after you take something and you mark up the price, it's that money that's added on. Okay. Now, when my company ordered the jewelry, we paid a wholesale price. And that's the price of the item before we marked it up. That's what we paid for it. Okay? So wholesale is the price of an item before the markup. Okay? And then, so we got the wholesale price, then we marked it up, and then we sold it for something called retail price. And retail price is the amount that we sold it to our customers. So retail price is the price of an item after the markup has been added. Now, guys, I'm sorry, all the crazy colors. I'm just trying to write in different colors so you can see where I am. Okay, so retail price is after the price has been marked up. We get the item, we pay wholesale for it, then we mark it up and we sell it to our customers for a retail price with the markup added on. Okay, now, let's say we've been shopping for some jewelry and now we decide to go out to eat. Okay, so anytime you're going out to eat or you have any type of service, like you're getting your hair done or your nails done, or maybe you have valet car parking, anything like that, sometimes you give a tip. And the tip is the extra money that you pay to someone who provides a service. Okay, it's kind of added on. So I've got to pay for my food, plus I've got to pay for the tip. Okay, now tip is generally not just like you just give some random amount of money. Typically, tip is figured as a percentage. Like you take your total bill that you paid at a restaurant and you figure out what would 15% of the bill be, and that's how much tip I should leave. So if you go to a more expensive restaurant, you're going to end up spending more on tip. If you go to a less expensive restaurant, your tip may not be as much. Okay, the tip is based on the percentage of the bill. Okay, but not only do you have to pay tip on things, you also sometimes have to pay tax. And tax is another extra amount added to a price. So extra money added on. So we pay for an item and then we have to pay tax on it. Okay, and then the last important topic or vocabulary word there is something that you make when you sell things. So that is called commission. So commission is if you work in sales, let's say you sell jewelry or you sell cars or you sell houses. If you sell a house for $100,000, do you think you're going to make all of that money? No. So you're going to make a certain commission. You're going to make a percentage off of how much you sell. So if you're working in sales, the more you sell, the more you make. So you're constantly, if you work in sales, you're constantly wanting to sell things so you can make what's called commission off of the sale. Okay. Now, there is no way I can sit here and do a problem for every single one of these because we could be here from now until forever because these types of problems are everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you kind of the steps that I would take if I were solving these problems that I would go through in order to break these word problems down. Okay. For me, these problems, the math itself is not difficult. Okay. You can set up the proportion. You can solve it easily. The hardest part with these word problems is reading it and determining what is the question asking and making sure at the end you've answered that question because sometimes they're tricky. Sometimes they want to know how much tip you left, and sometimes they want to know, well, what was the total bill with the tip included? So we got to be very careful. So I've written 6 quick steps that I'm going to tell you I want to see you going through every time you're solving these problems. Okay? Step 1, we want to read the problem. We can do that. Step 2, we're going to box in the question. Okay? So let's do this with number 1 as we go through. So number 1, let's read the question. So it says a pair of boots originally cost $205 and is on sale for 40% off. What is the discount? What is the sale price? Okay, so we read the question. Now we're going to read the problem. Now we're going to box in the question. So we got to look in all those words. We got to find the part that actually asks the question. So I see what is the discount and what is the sale price. Okay, so we did that. Number 3, you're going to write what you want to know. So I'm going to come over to the side and I'm going to make a little note here because if not, I may forget to answer all of the questions. So in your own words, write what you want to know. So I want to know the discount and I want to know the sale price. Okay? And now it says which vocabulary word is being used. So we've got that discount and that sale price. Okay, so we can always come back up here and look and see that it's these 2 here. Now we're going to write a proportion and solve. So it says they're 40% off. So what do you think the 40 is going to go over? 40 over 100. And then it says the boots originally cost $205. So if you were going to pay 100%, all of it, that would be the 205. So is that your part or your whole? That's the whole. That's the original cost. The original is always the whole. Okay? So 40%, and we don't know the part that's the discount. So I'm going to put an X. Okay? And we can quickly cross multiply and divide. and I get that my X is $82. Okay, so let's ask ourselves, what part of the question is that answering? That was the 40% off. So the $82 is the discount. So I've answered part of the question. Now it says the sale price. So if I go back to the top, the sale price is after the discount. So I can quickly figure out, well, the boots were $205. And now I'm going to take off that discount. So 205 minus 82. And my sale price is whoops. That wouldn't make sense, would it? 205, I'm sorry. Miss Kearney did some wrong calculating. My sale price would not be $318. So that would be sad if your sale price, that's why you guys, you want to constantly ask yourself, does it make sense? Clearly, Miss Kearney's answer did not make sense. So I went back and I said, okay, obviously I did something wrong. So $123. Now ask yourself if that makes sense. Does it make sense that they were $205? I took 40% off, so almost half, and they are now $123. Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable. So the sale price is $123. Okay, and we always want to come back and say, did I answer what I want to know, which was discount and sale price, and we did. Okay, so until it's time to rotate, what I want to see you doing is going through these problems and going through the steps. So reading the problem, box in that question, write what you want to know, then set up your proportion and solve. And always go back at the end and say, did I answer what I want to know? And does it make sense? Okay, so you keep working on the practice and you can check the key as you are finishing. All right, good luck, guys. Make me proud. Peace out, Rainbow Trout. Love you, mean it.